time skips.
Starting the video.
That's what we're doing, yes. So we're getting back on that train of doing like filler-ish content in between reviews, especially considering we have the Christmas break going on right now. And this is something we've wanted to talk about for a while. What makes a time skip good? How to properly do one? Shitty ones, good ones. We have series to bash and series to fawn over and advice to give and rants to have. Thurman, how about you start?
Okay, so time skips, yay! All right. The reason why I want to do this is because I think people don't kind of understand how time works or why they even exist in the first place. To me, isn't fully opinionated here. To me, a time skip is something an author can use to drag along the story, get rid of information that we don't need at the moment in time. What I mean by that is that a time skip is used for a point in time in an arc or a point in time in a series where the author can say, all right, we've given a setup for this arc or for this point in time. You don't need to see this point in time, so let's just skip it and go to the part where you actually need to see. And what I mean by that is let's take One Piece, for example. I'm gonna use examples from series I think have done type skips well. Like I'm gonna say One Piece, Dr. Stone. I would even say Gurren Lagann used time skip well. It's just the quality of the series kind of dropped. And shit like that, right? So taking One Piece into consideration, the reason why the 2-year time skip was good was because it set up a lot of things that we already knew both bound to happen, right? So a big arc just ended. Ace died, Whitebeard died. The shift in tone is changing. Luffy feels useless because he lost his brother. His crew in the previous arc was just literally where it's like fucking separated, right? He feels hopeless. So here comes Rayleigh saying, "Hey, Luffy, I know you feel like you're weak as shit. So instead of just rushing to meet your crew, just leave a message saying, hey, take this 2 years to better yourself, and train." And boom, that's it. Because here's the thing, right? And here's the thing, as the reason why I think people don't understand is just that time doesn't stop moving because the main characters are not in the series, right?
Exactly.
Like we still see that even though Luffy was training, Zoro was with Mihawk, people were still moving. Law was doing shit. Kaido was doing shit.
Doflamingo was doing shit.
Yeah. So
probably Crocodile was doing shit. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. Characters are still doing shit during a time skip, so we don't need to see Luffy training. We don't need to see fucking Usopp, getting strong. We don't need to see that. This is stuff that Oda can show us over the span of the next few arcs via flashbacks, right? And this is why I think in putting out Black Clover here, because Black Clover just recently did a time skip, and I think he did it well, right? Tabata did, and this is why I feel like Tabata is a big fan of Oda because the writing is kind of similar.
Disgusting. Do not compare.
He's good. He's good. He has talent. Mm-hmm. But anyway, a big arc just ended. Elf reincarnation arc, right? A big arc just ended. The Black Bulls have been exiled from the kingdom. They have to find demons. They've been the different members of the Black Bulls have been going around trying to look for information for demons. It leads them to another kingdom. We find information. Okay, well, this kingdom has the resides demon that we're looking for. Okay, but you guys are too weak for it. So, all right. So we're gonna give you guys 6 months to train and do all this shit. And and during that 6 months, we see shit that doesn't need to be explained. We already knew that one kingdom was trying to invade, and we see in just 6 months that they invaded the entire one part of a kingdom, right? We see the bunch of characters have gotten stronger. We've seen that some of the characters have gone along with the princess, with the queen of another kingdom, right? So we see a lot of stuff that we don't really need to see because it's already been established, right? And I think that's the main point of a time skip is. And, I'm going to let Red continue.
Yeah, I think you make a good point. So from a narrative perspective, or on a writing perspective, if you're an author, it is a good tool to use. I think it does a lot of things. It obviously it generates hype, because typically they'll take like a break in between and then like, holy fuck, I remember when One Piece did a time skip, it was like a 4-week break. And that was a crazy time to be a One Piece fan. And that was around the time I was like catching up with the anime. So I wasn't caught up with the manga yet, but I was like hearing about it. I was hearing the hushes and the whispers and like, whoa, oh my God, this is happening. And it's again, it's a hype generator, right? So like, you know, the characters come back, they all have new designs, they get a time to like flex on enemies that destroyed them in the past. So obviously in One Piece you have them all just like one-shotting pacifista, which is phenomenal. It helps the power scaling, you know, it really helps it not feel like it's too easy for the characters while not artificially extending out the series. Because Oda, for the longest time in One Piece, was doing quite a good job at like making the Straw Hats' power progression feel natural, and we were actually seeing all of their power progression. So like, you know, it happened naturally. Like Luffy learned Gear second just through like, you know, fucking around on the ship and like trying shit out. You know, and like we kind of saw the process of him getting his new moves. We saw Zoro lifting weights and training. You know, we saw them kind of come to that all this power without the time skip. But you know, when it got to be too much. And, you know, obviously Oda hyped the fuck out of the New World, you know, from the very beginning when Zeph in the Baratier arc, you know, he refers to the first half of the Grand Line as paradise. So, and the second half is, like, not, you know what I mean? Like, it's basically, like, the New World is so fucking crazy that it makes the first half, the Grand Line, which is insane, look like a paradise. So it did a lot of things, you know, it made not only did it hype it up, like I said, but it made the power scaling make more sense because it made it, you know, hey, they had to work for 2 years to even be on par with the people in the New World. And think about what's going on now. You know, obviously, I've seen people do videos, like Tekking in particular has done a video, like, what if the Straw Hats tried to go into the New World without training? They would have gotten destroyed. You know what I mean? Like, because of that two-year training, and I think Oda did a good job showing this. You know, they go into Fishman Island. They fucking stop. They go into Punk Hazard. For the most part, they stop. Dressrosa is the first real time where they start getting challenged, but the second Luffy goes Gear 4th, he stops. And that's the main thing he learned. You know, so basically, that training, it made them, you know, it gave them like a cakewalk through the first half of the New World. Not a cakewalk for all of it, but the first two islands basically were, and then the third one, they were on par. So it makes you feel as a reader like, yeah, that training, that hard work did pay off, and it makes the power scaling of the world feel much more vast, because obviously fiction imitates reality. If you wanted to like beat the world's strongest boxer, you know what I mean, like you can't just walk up in like a week and be like, all right, I started boxing a week ago and now I'm fighting fucking Mike Tyson, and then you win, you know what I mean? So that's what I like about time skips. Gives us an excuse to have new designs. It you know, allows them. It's just a kind of a hype moment in any series. And did you want to start talking about what makes a bad time skip, Thurman? Because
yeah. So to me, what makes a bad time skip is one that feels like it's not needed.
If it was just done out of like panic mode for the author, right? Because I've seen some time skips where it's like, either A, they feel like their series is dying and they need to like revitalize interest, or B, it like with Bleach, for example, with Bleach's time skip, it felt like Kubo was like, well, everyone else did a time skip, I guess I will too, because like almost nothing changed. There was no big like, I'm this much more powerful moment. It was really just like, you know, okay, you know, like they didn't come back with new moves or anything. Like it was mostly just like, we have new outfits, we're implied to be slightly stronger, and that's about it. You know, like, I hate, like, it just feels like a waste, you know? Yeah,
and to me, a bad time skip is just one that doesn't change anything. It's just like, we could have done without it, right? So one thing I wanted to mention, My Hero Academia. I think, for the longest time, I said that it felt like Hirokoshi wanted to do a time skip, and it was before the series, you know, we got these good chunk of chapters we have now, but I stand by it that if we were still focused on Endeavor shit, I would have said Hirokoshi's done a time skip for a few reasons. One, he had a decent setup to where, you know, we kind of gotten everything we needed. Okay, so we've gotten the whole. All right, so we're training now. We know how much time we have. You know, it's a lot. He had it to where like we kind of gotten everything we needed. It felt like if he did a time skip now, it would make sense. But now I feel like we don't need a time skip because now we have some stuff to learn.
Real quick, my theory on that is I think we're going to get it. So I think what's about to happen right now with Shigaraki invading, this is going to be like the Marine Ford of My Hero Academia. Okay? Like, this is going to be like their mid-series big fucking crazy deaths and everything. I have a feeling All Might's going to die in this. And then I think we're going to get a time skip after that. And I think from there, the series is going to transfer from like My Hero Academia to just My Hero whatever. I think they're going to be out of school and shit's going to get real. That's my assumption.
Yeah, I would like that because here's the thing. I don't know if any of you guys have ever read a series called Robot Cross Laser Beam. It was an old.
My buddy Andy did. I wish I could get him in on this video, but he's all shy. Yeah, he loved it.
It was a manga that was created by the same guy who created Kuroko no Basket. If you guys like that shit, I don't know too much about golf, but the manga was pretty good. I liked the characters, it makes sense, yada yada yada. But what fucked him over was like he did a time skip in high school. He basically time skipped the entirety of the high school, literally. Like He time skipped him out of high school and going straight into like the golf league, and people were like, "What the fuck is this?"
Oh right, like he went like right to the pros, right? I think I remember him telling me about this.
Yeah, like it felt like he was trying to rush to endgame, and a lot of people say that bad time skip was the reason why his series got access at 64 chapters because it only lasted.
I remember Andy telling me that it was like a controversial move, and people were like, "What the fuck?"
Because I'm pretty sure you probably don't remember this, but this is like back when we first started talking as friends, right? Like, but I said this in the group chat. I was like, I said screenshots. I was like, a time skip at like what, like chapter 25? Let's see how this pays off. But that's extremely early. Like, mind you, this is like he was a freshman in high school. That's like a 4-year time skip. Like, this is a chance for us to see him grow, him seeing mistakes. Like,
right,
I believe
the part of the story you want to see, basically, skipped over.
Yeah, right. So that's a bad time skip. The author time skipped information that we needed to see. There was no setup. There was nothing. Like, we needed to see him grow as a character, and then him, graduating, and then him going to, shit like that, right? We didn't see that. Another bad example of a time skip is, here he comes.
Oh, I have to. You gotta let me rant.
Promised Neverland, right? So Promised Neverland's time skip was bad because
may I start this one off since you got the Robot X Laser Beam? I got a rant ready.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it, Thurman. Okay, so with Promised Neverland, when I started that series, there was a time where it was in my top 10. There was a time where I considered it as good as Death Note. That first arc was amazing. I was hooked on every fucking word, every fucking chapter, okay? What excited me to no end was this, like, we're in a snow globe type world where it's like, okay, we're in this snow globe and now we're going to break out of it, right? Their entire world had been this, like, tiny little area. And there's going to be this amazing moment where they leave and they can explore the world. And we have no idea what this world's like. In the beginning, we didn't know if it was a different planet. Was it still Earth? What time period is it in? All this shit, right? And then finally, and then we found out it was in the future, like 50 years. So that was even more exciting, right? And then, okay, they break out and they find out, all right, there's a demon side of the planet and the human side of the planet. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. They're in the demon side. We should be able to see them exploring, like, demon civilizations, demon cities, what's their world like, and maybe we'll be able to see kind of more about, like, why they eat humans, all that shit. And the author chose, for some godforsaken reason, to just, like, montage, like, narration over, like, and in that, do you remember how long it was?
I think it was a year.
Yeah, in that year we traveled to all these demon cities, and we got to know the land, and we found all these different bases, and we talked to all these people. It literally, I was blown away. I was like, and maybe this is just me, and I'm sure, like, Luke, we love you, Luke, but he's our fucking local Promised Neverland defender. But my problem with that is that's the part of the series I was really itching to see. The world exploration, the, like, all right, let's go just explore this Earth we've been finally let out into. But no, they decided to focus on what essentially amounted to like an Indiana Jones style, like, you know, go through the fucking catacombs and get through the puzzle, and then it's weird. But like, yeah, the part of the series I wanted to see, they skipped over. And so that would have helped the characters too, because like you would have been able to see them journeying and doing stuff other than just the exact objective that they have to do, and then that would help us get to know the characters better. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so adding on to that, the reason why I hate it the most is because one of my biggest issues, and you go check out that Promised Neverland that we had.
Oh, the character, yes. Promised Neverland has 0 likable characters. I really enjoyed that fucking title too. It was such a fucking like, not clickbaity, but it was like to bait in people to be angry at it.
Yeah, so my issue with the time skip was everything Red said, but it was the biggest thing was one of my biggest issues with the Promised Neverland, mostly Emma, was that Emma. Norman had spoilers 3, 2, 1, had a big plan to kill all demons, rightfully so, because humans have been they've been eating them, because it's been stated that demons need to eat humans to maintain their humanity and all that shit, right? So Norman was like, okay, we're going to rescue all these kids, we're going to kill off all the fucking demons, it's going to be great, everything, right? Flawless plan, makes a lot of sense. All this shit. Emma's like, no, we can't do that. They're people too. In the year that we've been gone, we saw all these demon civilizations and kids and all this extra shit. I'm just like,
and that would have meant so much more if we saw it. God damn it.
Where do we see that as readers? Right? Here's the thing, right? We see this a bunch of times where characters don't want to kill off evil shit. We've seen it. It's whatever. That's not my issue. My issue is that Emma, knowing that she's had multiple times of her family's been killed, eaten. She was literally being raised as fucking as what is that called? Livestock, right?
Yeah,
as livestock. She was being used, right? Norman, the person that she loved the most, was gonna get eaten and killed, right? Like, she thought he was dead. Like, any normal person would be like, no, fuck the demons. Fuck if you guys have kids. Fuck if you guys have family. You are using us so you guys can maintain your own civilization. That's fucked up. But she's like, no, we want to kill. I want to see them live. You know, we can make a new promise. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. But where do we see that? It feels fake as fuck. You time skipped everything we needed to agree with Emma, but you only showed us, a few flashbacks and a few cities? Like, how do we know this? The majority of and I said this in the video, majority of the time that we see the demons, they're evil. There has been a single good demon besides Musica and Sunjo.
Yeah. All the good demons were time skipped over.
Yes. All the convincing arguments we needed to like the demons were time skipped over. We only saw 2 good demons. And even then, what pisses me off the most, even then, now, Sunjo and Musica had a whole conversation about, Musica was like, you're letting them go? Don't you want to eat? If you let them go, you're not going to be able to eat humans anymore. Like, what? What is it ever stated this nigga wants to eat eat humans in the first place? Was he supposed to be a good person who doesn't want to eat? That's why he left the kingdom? And all of a sudden, they're going to have a whole conversation about, like, oh, you know, if they go away, you won't be able to eat them anymore. You won't be able to eat humans anymore. You know that, right? I'm like, why? What's the point of that? So it's just, that was an awful time skip. Time skipping over important information that we need is not good. People, yeah. I'm shocked that people
as a writer, you have to earn things, okay? Like, being a writer is all about earning trust and, like, earning love from your readers, okay? So when you're a writer, you probably, you know, I would imagine, I've never written anything like that before, but like I would imagine, okay, I have this idea. Like, let's take Oda, for example, okay? Oda's like, all right, I'm planning on killing Ace at Marineford. But in order to do that, I have to spend like 5 years minimum making the readers love this character, right? So like let's add him into Alabasta, and then let's show him, like, you know, chilling with Buggy, and then let's show him chasing after Blackbeard, and then let's start like adding in a couple, you know, like little background things. He took the time to make you care. You know, and this could be, you could do this for any character, right? Like All Might, okay? Like when all that shit was happening with All Might, it was sad because he's lovable and you fucking care about him. Or the best example ever, fucking Kuro Sensei in Assassination Classroom, okay? Like that fucking character is so goddamn lovable. So when the end happens, and I won't say what happens in the end, but when what happens to him, it's like, holy fuck. You know, why? Because you had a whole series showing characters interacting. Because at the end of the day, what is the best way to get your audience to love the story you're showing? Having lovable characters interacting with each other and doing cool shit. Okay? You don't need, you know, and like, you know, Promised Neverland's writing issues aside, because we've talked about that enough, but like, the part of the story that would have made us love those characters, it got skipped over. And that's a bad time skip, for sure. I'm trying to think is there any other time skips you wanted to use an example of, or how you want to wrap this video up, or if not?
It would be like if Oda time skipped Marineford. And then
yo, he does his little fucking text box like the battle went both ways, back and forth.
Like, imagine Oda time skipping Marineford, right? And then the next chapter, like that 4-week break, the next chapter always sees like the Straw Hats on the different like worlds where they got transported to, looking at it and seeing that Ace is dead.
The newspaper, bro.
that would be similar to what that would be what the Promised Neverland.
That's such a good metaphor, Thurman. That's okay, Luke. That is what we feel like in Promised Neverland. Okay, like that's such a great example. Like, yeah, I mean, and like, yeah, you know, compare it to this recent fucking chapter where, you know, Whitebeard and fucking Roger clashed, and then like it was like, imagine if he did that in fucking Marineford. Like Whitebeard shows up, he does the one fucking earthquake and then the tsunami, and then it just skips.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the rage?
Yo, like, that shit is fucking hilarious, right? Like, imagine, like, where would it start, where would it end, right? So it was because we had Impel Down, right? And so Luffy was on his way. So I would say it would probably start, we guys probably get the reveal that Ace was Roger's son. And then once Whitebeard did his thing, that's where it would end. You wouldn't even see Luffy actually join the fight.
That would read about it in the newspaper. You just see the picture of like Luffy with Ace dead in his arms. Like, what the fuck happened?
But see, Luke, this is a perfect example of what we mean. This,
yep.
I hope this metaphor that we used is a perfect example of why Promised Neverland's time skip was off. But let me talk about time skips that, because there are a few, right? So to be fair, though, it's not every time that a time skip saves a series. There's sometimes a time skip is just like kind of there. Like Fairy Tail's time skip was it didn't really. I wouldn't say it was bad. It was just kind of like, oh, okay, a time skip, because for context for the Fairy Tail peeps here.
Fairy Tail's time skip was interesting, and like I like this idea of just going through like big series and talking about them. Fairy Tail's time skip is fucking weird, and that's around the time I stopped reading it, and it had nothing to do with the time skip. I was just kind of getting sick of it. But like at first, and I guess I should have been smart, but I should have known better. But like everyone was like, "Oh my god, did Mashima have the balls to kill off the whole main cast?" You remember when people thought that?
Yeah,
because basically like the fucking island that the entirety of the main cast is on just explodes, and then like some new fuck is like introduced, and then he's looking like the main character and shit. But no, I mean essentially like the Fairy Tail crew got like frozen in time, so they didn't change at all. But like some minor characters did, and then the world around them did. So I mean, it was a unique way to do it. At least I'm not too sure beyond that if it was like worthwhile, or what do you think about it?
Yeah, it was just kind of like what the fuck? Because what happened was that they had their own personal island of their own, and majority of the main characters were going there to kind of rank up in their guild. So it was like a semi tournament-esque little thing, right? And so it turns out that an evil guild, the old guild master, was on there to sabotage that shit, whatever, right? Yada yada yada. And then kind of weird, and then Acnologia came in, fucked up the island, and after that, everyone thought they were dead. 7 years have passed. Like it would be like losing like majority of your strongest people.
Yeah, the Fairy Tail Guild sucked ass because like all their good people are gone.
Yeah, like all of the relevant people were gone. So like
all the relevant people,
all the fodder like that we see like maybe like 1 or 2 chapters, like couldn't get in the guild.
Fucking
like,
background characters.
That's so bad, bro. That's so
funny.
That's so bad. Like it was Mishima basically saying like, okay, these are the characters that. It wasn't for these characters. These other characters would be nothing. So basically, it would be like if you have a bunch of characters, right? All those characters die, and then the supporting characters are now the main characters, right? So for 7 years, it took the fodder characters to hold down the fort for Fairy Tail, and they couldn't, right? They're known as like the strongest guild 7 years ago, and literally 7 years have passed, and like they're now the weakest guild because they couldn't because the fodders were left in charge. And then when they came,
and I've seen this Nux talk about this arc a lot. They basically just got to come back to the tournament and flex on everyone because like no one expected shit from Fairy Tail because they'd sucked for the past 7 years and they've like lost their rank, so they just get to like come back and flex on everybody. So that sounded pretty fun.
Yeah, Magic Games arc was really good. That was, I would say, that would be Fairy Tail Kitty's Lobby. I would say to me at least, because that's where I stopped. After that, I was just like, I'm not really feeling it. I may come back to it though. I heard it was really good, but from time to time. But
yeah, it's worth finishing probably. Let's see other series to talk about. Like as I said with Bleach, I already mentioned. Yeah. I make the joke a lot that like. I think Bleach's time skip was literally just there, so Kubo had an excuse to redesign them. You know what I mean? Like Rukia got short hair, they all got different clothes. The only thing I can think about is like, and it just seemed cheap to me because like Kubo before the time skip had done this thing where Ichigo got this Deus Ex Machina power boost, yada yada. And it was like, oh, if you use this power, you'll lose your powers. Ooh. And then, he gets his powers like 20 chapters later, right? And he gets them right back. And I always hated that because, like, it's just such a cop-out. Like, okay, why even fucking have him lose his powers if you're going to do that? And I feel like one of the reasons Kubo did a time skip was to make it seem like, no. Ichigo had no powers for, like, 2 years. This is a big deal for him. He was powerless for 2 years. It's like, no, because if you want that to mean something, you got to fucking commit and have, like, at least 50 chapters where he's got no powers. You know what I mean? Like, so, it, like, at least right now, whether or not Gon gets his powers back in Hunter x Hunter, at least he's not been in a chapter for, like, 50 chapters. You know what I mean? Like, okay, that's something. I personally hope he stays powerless for the rest of the series, but we'll see. But yeah, so it just seemed like a cop-out, like a Kubo, one, wanting to just write off the hype of a time skip, and two, be like, oh, look, Ichigo, he lost his powers for a good chunk of time. See, I'm not copping out. But it really didn't add much to it. They didn't get that much stronger. It didn't, and if they did, he didn't portray it well. Like, he didn't portray it amazingly like Naruto and One Piece did, where they came back and you see how much more powerful they are. In Bleach, I didn't get that vibe, especially considering it started off with the Full Ring arc where we didn't see any of the Soul Reapers, any of the characters we loved until like 30 chapters after the time skip began. So it was weird. Not awful, but just kind of like pointless. Naruto, what do you think about Naruto's time skip, Thurman?
I think it was fine. I mean, it gave me One Piece vibes. How after, because I don't know, because Naruto is weird for me. I as a youngin, I only watched bits and pieces of it. I never watched it like straight through or read it straight through. So the timeline for me is kind of wonky. So the time skip happened after the first Naruto versus Sasuke fight, right?
Yes.
Is that correct?
Oh yeah, okay. You gotta ignore all the filler. Yeah, that they fought and then it came back and it started right away with like Gaara fighting Deidara.
Okay, yeah. I think it was fine. I think
I liked it.
Kishimoto had all the basics of a time skip.
Yeah, because and you know what? Like the world progressed, and that's I think one of the key things that we're coming back to as a sign of a good time skip, right? Like you came back, Gaara is the Kazekage. That's awesome. You come back, Tsunade, her fucking face is on the mountain. They've done that. Sakura, obviously all the characters are big. Sakura, Hinata, Hinata's got big old boobles. You come back, fucking Akamaru, the dog that was with that fucking animal kid is huge now. You know, like you see things are changed. The first thing Naruto does is a big ass Rasengan. It's fucking huge. You know, and he actually, you know, manages to catch Kakashi off guard because they do the very first bell test that they did in the beginning of Naruto, but they do it again to show how much better Naruto and Sakura are now. So I love that because it does two things that it needs to do, that any good time skip needs to do. It's like, hey, show that the world has progressed, character designs majorly change, and show how much more powerful they are in like a way that the readers can understand. I loved it.
Yeah, so a good time skip is one that makes you feel like time didn't stop for the characters. Time still moved forward. And not many times, we don't mean like, because yes, obviously an author's gonna make it seem like time has changed, but we're talking like changes. Like
the character was still doing shit when we weren't watching.
Yeah, like I want to see not even just the character,
the world.
I want to see what the fucking world was doing, right? Like, yeah, like why? Because, like I said at the beginning of the video, is like time does not stop even if the main character is not, you know, doing shit, right? Like time didn't stop for Luffy. While Luffy was fucking training, fucking Yonkos were doing shit. The world government was doing. Like shit was.
Yeah, like remember when they went to Fishman Island and they were like, oh hey, this used to be a territory of Whitebeard, and now it's a territory of Big Mom, and we have this candy factory,
right?
and
like,
shit's all different now, you know.
Shit was happening regardless of whether the Straw Hats were doing shit or not, right? That's a good time skip to me. A time skip is one that, you know, if you're in a fucking coma, you know, like shit's happening without you, right? Like it's unfortunate, but time it does not stop for anybody, regardless of how you feel, and that's what a time skip should be. A time skip should be merciless for people. If you've missed like 4, 5, 6 years of your life, you should be able to feel that 6 years gone.
Yeah.
It should feel like 6 years have passed and shit should change. If you're married and you're in a coma, your wife probably married somebody else or probably had a kid or probably, you know, whatever. Your daughter is probably from, you know, a teenager now because you've been gone, right? Like time.
Wait, have you seen Infinity War and Endgame?
No.
Oh, dude, there's a chunk where, so, like, Ant-Man, you know Ant-Man, right?
Yeah.
So Ant-Man got fucking, like, he was in, like, the quantum realm when Thanos did the snap, right? And then, so when he got out of the quantum realm, it was, like, 2 years later, and he had to, like, witness, maybe, I don't know if it was 2 years or 4 years, it was a good chunk of years later. And he came back, you know, seeing all the monuments, like, to the dead. He went back to see his daughter, and she was all grown up, or, you know, like, she went from, like, being, like, a kid to, like, a teenager. It was, and, you know, like, it was done so well, because you could see him just, like, kind of panicking in his head, like, oh my god.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. Did you not hear what I said?
Yeah, I heard you, but oh my god, I started abruptly, so I thought you were.
This is the end of the sentence. We always do this.
So yeah, so it was yeah, shit like that, right? You should feel the time skip, right? It shouldn't feel like you know, it's really depending on it. Like, and for bad time skips like Promised Neverland and Robot Cross Laserbeam, you don't really feel the time skip. It just feels nothing's really changed. The characters still stay the same, like. And with like One Piece and Black Clover and shit like that, like you saw the character, like Asta looks completely different now. Like
he's fucking swole.
Design change, like Luck, like even Luck looks completely different.
My boy Luck changed. Show me. Send me post fucking time skip Luck right now. Is he still? Is he still my boy? Did they ruin his like femboyness? You know I love that. My thing. All right. Post time skip Luck. I'm looking it up right now.
I got it for you.
Okay, send me, boy. I will judge as Luck's greatest fan, as someone who's read 65 chapters of Black Clover and likes Luck. I like Luck and Yami. That's all you're getting from me.
And Sally.
Okay. I see. Okay, so he looks older. Maybe like a little taller.
Yep.
Okay. All right. This is acceptable. They haven't fucked him. Like, speaking of fucking designs, I still don't know how I feel about Frankie's post time skip design. I still feel like I like his pre time skip design better.
No, I think it's the opposite. I don't. I've never been that big of a fan of his design. Pre-time skip. I don't know. I feel like Oda was going for like the full American look, right? Like the full on like yeah from America, like girl, like freedom type.
Wait, with post or pre-time skip, Frankie?
For I don't know.
Yeah. You know he is like. Have you ever seen the OBS or the SBS where someone asked Oda like if all the Straw Hats were from actual countries in the real world, where would they be from? And Frankie is America.
I've seen them. I've seen those. Like fucking
Frankie
Luffy's
is
like
the American of the group.
Yeah. Like, wasn't Luffy from like Brazil or some shit like that?
I think. Let me look it up again.
I know like Robin was probably from. They say Sanji was French.
I think. I should look it up. Hold up. Yep, Brazil.
Yeah.
Oh, I got it right here. Luffy, Brazil, Zoro, Japan. Oh, I got it. Luffy, Brazil, Zoro, Japan, Nami, Sweden, Usopp, Africa, Sanji, France, Chopper, Canada, Robin, Russian, Frankie, American, Brooke, Austria. Now, the only reason I said Africa so loud is because Thurman has a video he really likes.
It's Usopp Black. So was Nami from Sweden? Wow, that's interesting.
Look up is Usopp Black. It's an amazing shit post of a video.
Yeah. So that makes sense, right? So
wrapping it up, final thoughts?
Yeah, I just think time skips are I think time skips are just I like time skips. I think they're really good. They're definitely
He's ending this like a fucking like middle schooler would end a fucking paper. And in conclusion,
yeah, I mean,
bruh.
I think people kind of overcomplicate them a little bit, right? Like a time skip is just what it should be, a time skip. Like unless unless you're fucking racking your brain, it shouldn't be that hard. Like it's actually a really useful tool for authors. It's just some know how to use them well and some don't. And it's as getting at the point to where like I thought even Hirokoshi was kind of like I was like Hirokoshi, bro, just do a time skip. Like
nah, bro, he's waiting until after that All Might death.
Yeah, that's why I stopped talking about the time skip thing, because if I'm gonna be real, if we were still gonna be stuck with the Endeavor shit, I was like, just do a time skip.
So because you're showing like that's the example of shit that we don't really need to see all of.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. Like you're showing us shit that you don't need to show us. Like we get it. Like just give us a time skip, right? Because at that point you already gave us the information that we needed to continue. So why keep beating a dead horse? Just give us a time skip.
To clarify, though, there's certain things I do like seeing in detail. Like something I wish we got more of in One Piece was like their journeys on the Thousand Sunny to different islands. Like where they're just like those like early One Piece moments where they're just chilling and fucking around on the ship. I want more of that. Like I will always take more of like characters just interacting and fucking around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I get that, but I get why not, because they're at a point right now, and not even just like Oda trying to rush the series. I think in canon, like in timeline, they're at a point where they can't really do that anymore.
Oh yeah, like, I mean, shit's ever since they've entered the New World, shit's been constantly real.
Like, think about that. They don't really have the luxury to fuck around really anymore. Like, think about from where they entered. You went from Fishman to fucking
Punk Hazard to Dressrosa to Zoe to Big Mom, then splitting off to Big Mom and the other shit.
Like they truth be told, like the Straw Hats have been going through a lot of nerve-wracking things. Like mentally speaking, the Straw Hats
need a vacation.
Like, cause I'm gonna be real. Like they went from after Fishman Island. I feel like Fishman Island was like their last chance to fuck around.
Oh, it really was. I miss it. I miss the fucking around.
Because once Punk Hazard came around, they went with Law, and then they were literally following Law's plan the entire time. Yep. They have to go to Dressrosa, and then they went to Dressrosa, and they went to Zoe, and then they had to save Sanji from Whole Cake, and then as soon as they save Sanji, they have to go to Wano. Like it's just a lot. Like everything that they didn't really have any much downtime, and it was just like, okay, well, shit. There's no wonder they can't go to different islands like they used to, because shit, they've been following a set plan and order.
That's true.
So,
That's something I'll always miss in early one. Yeah, I will always miss just like the adventurous, like going to like random island, like Sky Island. They didn't go there for any fucking reason other than that sounds cool as fuck.
oh yeah.
So yeah, I miss that shit. But either way, that's I mean, my concluding thoughts are time skips. They can be used well. They can be just kind of there. I think, we've laid it out pretty well. It's just you got to show change in the world, change in your characters. Don't make it feel like it's just there for no reason. I think this is a great conversation, Thurman. Good 40-minute video we just did. And with that, peace.
Peace.